Another year is here, and with it the promise of hundreds of new games. The promises are a bit vague in 2022 though, as the ongoing pandemic and various other factors have knocked many release dates severely out of whack. This year I've compiled a list of the 10 games I'm most looking forward to. They're presented in approximate order of expected release, but it's an inexact science given how many of these projects have no confirmed release dates attached to them. They're a varied bunch, ranging across a few genres and taking in both blockbusters and indie dark horses. We'll see how many of these actually manage to make it out during 2022, and how many, if any, make it onto my Games of the Year list come December. Number 1. Sifu, expected on the 8th of February, developed and published by Slowclap. Capturing the flow and dynamism of martial arts is a difficult thing to do in a game, which may explain why so few developers have seriously attempted it. French studio Slowclap have relevant experience, having released their debut game Absolver back in 2017. Sifu is a more grounded take on mano-a-mano combat set in contemporary China. The most novel aspect of it is that the player character ages over time. An older fighter is more skilled, but also has less health. The multiplayer component of Absolver has been ditched this time, but a similar art style has been retained. This game could establish Slowclap as the wizened masters of hand-to-hand fighting games when it comes out on PC, PS4 and PS5. Xbox owners will obviously have to pick a fight somewhere else. Number 2. Weird West, expected on March 31st, developed by Wolfeye Studios and published by Devolver Digital. A new Western-themed game is always a cause for celebration, even if it isn't likely to be as great as my 2020 Game of the Year, Desperados 3. Weird West is receiving an outsized amount of attention because it's the first game developed by Wolfeye Studios, founded by Rafael Colantonio, formerly of Arcane Studios. The game is an action role-playing title which seems to emphasise a lot of player choice and which adds supernatural elements to the standard Old West template. It runs on Unreal Engine 4 and is set to come out all guns blazing on PC, PS4 and Xbox One at the end of March. Wolfeye are a small indie outfit, but they could yet make an impact if Weird West fulfills its potential. Number 3. Songs of Conquest, expected in Q2 of 2022, developed by Lava Potion and published by Coffee Stain Publishing. Some games wear their influence very obviously on their sleeve, but few do it quite as obviously as Songs of Conquest. The first game by new Swedish outfit Lava Potion, the game is a clear tribute to the Heroes of Might and Magic series, particularly the cult third entry. The key question will surely be how the Swedes managed to modernise the combination of overworld adventuring and turn-based combat. The particular formula that they are reviving feels very dated today. The signs look good, however, especially because of the game's very pretty pixel art and the addition of a height element to the fantasy battlefields. The target audience for Songs of Conquest is not huge, and as you would imagine the game is exclusive to PC, but it could become a cult favourite, just as Heroes of Might and Magic 3 did over 20 years ago. Number 4. Starfield, expected on the 11th of November, developed by Bethesda Game Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. It's been a decidedly mixed few years for developer-publisher giants Bethesda. They've had major successes like Doom Eternal, but also embarrassing misfires like Fallout 76. If it seems like they're reliant on a handful of aging series, it's because they are. Amazingly, they haven't put out something with a new intellectual property, to use a dire industry term, for a massive 25 years. That's finally set to change late this year with sci-fi RPG Starfield, which has the potential to be one of the blockbusters of 2022 and, if Bethesda get it right, a cash cow for years to come. What really matters is how the devs managed to make the game seem like something more than just Skyrim in space. PC and Xbox Series X and S owners will hopefully find out in November, but in space no one will hear PlayStation fans scream. Number 5. Company of Heroes 3, expected in the fourth quarter of 2022, developed by Relic Entertainment and published by Sega. It's been a long wait for a sequel to Company of Heroes 2, which came out in 2013, so long ago that World War II could have been replayed almost twice over in the meantime. Major real-time strategy games are as rare as hen's teeth these days, so this new game from Relic is something to look forward to. The team shipped another big RTS sequel, Age of Empires 4, in 2021, so hopefully they are firing on all cylinders. The most tantalising thing about Company of Heroes 3 is the setting. The campaigns in Italy and North Africa should seem much more fresh than yet another trudge around Normandy or Stalingrad. Relic have a proven track record and are employing the 5th version of their own Essence engine. Armchair generals on the PC can hopefully expect the game to cap off their year. Number 6. Shadow Warrior 3, expected at some point in 2022, developed by Flying Wild Hog and published by Devolver Digital. Amazingly, the Polish studio Flying Wild Hog has no less than 4 games expected to come out in 2022. While Evil West looks promising, my most anticipated is tongue-in-cheek, sword-in-hand shooter sequel Shadow Warrior 3. Since 2016, the Hogs have made this series their own and are continuing to radically rework the formula with a 3rd entry. Some of the more unwise design elements of Shadow Warrior 2 are being put to the sword, such as the overbearing weapon stats and the semi-procedural generation of levels, which made the last game feel a bit soulless at times. More surprisingly, the devs have also scrapped multiplayer and have chosen to focus on a leaner, meaner single-player experience. The game has also been delayed a lot, most recently in October 2021, but players on PC, PS4 and Xbox One can look forward to the return of the Wang at an unspecified point in 2022. Number 7. Ion Fury Aftershock, expected at some point in 2022, developed by Voidpoint and published by 3D Realms. Another project which has been much delayed is Ion Fury Aftershock. This expansion to the 2019 game seemed almost to have been forgotten about at one point, but is apparently still on track for some time this year. Given that it's been such a long time since the main game came out, Aftershock may need to be quite special in order to get players back on board. The new levels do look promising though, as does the chance to drive vehicles for the first time. Developers Voidpoint did miraculous things with the build engine with Ion Fury, and may yet work that same magic again. What they and publishers 3D Realms must do though is avoid sparking any new pointless controversies, something that dogged them multiple times in 2019. Number 8. Supplice, expected at some point in 2022, developed by Mechworks and published by Hyperstrange. Continuing the retro-style shooter anticipation is Supplice, which I last wrote about when I played its demo back in October 2021. These days, the Doom engine is proving to be the powerhouse behind a growing number of old-school FPS games, and of those, this one is arguably the most promising. The various personalities involved have a tremendous track record, and on the basis of that demo, Mechworks have a good chance of standing out from the crowd. I've still got concerns about how hard to navigate the demo levels were, and Supplice also faces the same risk as many other games of its type, the risk of seeming overly similar to Doom. Based on the most recent update, the game may not come out this year, but I'm looking forward to it so much I'll include it anyway. Call it manifesting. Number 9. Sin Reloaded and Kingpin Reloaded, expected at some point in 2022, developed by Night Dive Studios and Slipgate Ironworks, and published by 3D Realms. 3D Realms and friends seem to have had a bit of trouble with these projects. The remasters of Sin and Kingpin seem to have taken forever, and there still isn't a firm release date for either of them. A lot of the classic shooters from yesteryear have now been remastered or remade, and so attention has turned to some that are, well, frankly, not as classic. Both using the Quake 2 engine and released in 1998 and 1999 respectively, Sin and Kingpin were never incredible games, but a fresh coat of paint may yet make all the difference. If nothing else, these remasters should prove to be worthwhile historical projects, shining a new light on some of the games which followed Half-Life and which couldn't quite match up to it. Lastly, number 10, Atomic Heart, expected at some point in 2022, developed and published by Mundfish. Russian games have a somewhat dubious reputation, but Atomic Heart could be a bit of a dark horse for this year. Developed by the new studio Mundfish, the game is a first-person action RPG which is set in a strange alternate Soviet Union in 1955. Running on Unreal Engine 4 and taking advantage of tech like Nvidia's brilliant DLSS, it has the potential to look very good indeed. There's a great deal we don't know about the game, and it has been the subject of some rumours of problems and discord behind the scenes, but the trailers have shown some definite promise, and not just in the technical department. There's no established street date for the game, but it is coming out on all the platforms, PC, PS4 and PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. Release dates for games are tricksy things in general, and especially so this year. Hopefully the bulk of these games on this list will make it out into the world over the next 12 months. If they do, you should be able to expect reviews by myself or my colleagues at Entertainium. Thanks for listening to this episode. You can find more of my writing in text and audio form at my site andyjohnson.xyz. You can also find me on Twitter at andyjohnsonuk, and you can support me at patreon.com/andyjohnson. Catch you next time.